That's a fun bill to pay during COVID while you're
Dude,
never
freaking
there.
$1,800 a freaking month.
Gentlemen,
It's like I could stay
hate
stay
to
at the
cut
Ritz
you off.
Carlton for the price my rent is. Oh, sorry, the show's on.
Oh, yeah, I hate to cut you off, your little side conversation, but welcome to the Smokin Tabacco Show. I am Matt Tobacco from SmokinTobacco.com, and I am joined once again by my good friend who's been absent, Mr. Jon Carney from the Forge Dominicana and Hacking Gourmet.
Finally, The Rock has come back to Smokin
He's
Tabacco.
back, and he's sporting the number 45. I think only the basketball people will get that reference. And with us tonight is another vice president, and that is Mr. Erik Wentworth of Hammer and Sickle Cigars.
Happy
Erik,
to be here, boys. Excited about it.
what up?
Super excited.
Eric's a cool dude. He's always in my local shops around here. I've hung out with him a bunch too. He's a good shit. He's a bourbon guy, so we have plenty to talk about.
Yeah, I'm a pretty good dude. I like me.
I know. I like you too. I think that you're a good dude. And your cigars. What were you gonna say, John?
Matt, I can take or leave Eric. You know, I'm indifferent.
I get it, man. I liked bald Carney better.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
This has definitely been the year of change for a lot of people, but it's also been the year of change and evolution for Jonathan Carney. He's grown hair. He's sharpened his skills on the grill. He has become more of a distinguished vino enthusiast. And are you smoking a digger?
I'm smoking a digger.
Wow.
Nice
Smoking a
night.
digger and drinking wine.
Yeah, the wine's awful, man. I bought this little. There's not a great selection of wine up here in Maine, and I bought at this little convenience store called Why Not Stop, and it's a great little store, but the wine selection was miserable. So it's J-Lore Cab. I don't dislike it, but it's a little past. It's okay. I might have to switch off to something else. But I thought I had a Hammer and Sickle downstairs. The white label with like the silver. What's that one?
Trademark.
Yeah. I
Formerly
thought I
known as
had one of
Icon.
those, but yeah, that's what it used to be, the Icon. And I thought I had one, but I couldn't find it in my humidor. But that's a cigar that I enjoy, smooth, real nice smoke. So I thought I had it down there. So instead of doing a smooth, nice smoke, I ended up going with the
You're
digger.
gonna go with the digger. The meanest cigar on the market.
I like it
Thanks.
here.
So I've been watching the last few weeks, even though I haven't been on the show. I guess it's been since we made the change to Wednesday. I haven't been on the show, which we made the change essentially for me, Eric, was so I could be on the show more often. And so we made the change, and then yeah.
Correct.
So this is,
I mean, not for nothing, but I think it's been better. So
Oh, thank you, Eric. Wow.
yeah. I mean, this to each their own. I mean, I'm going to do a soap review tonight, and I'm going to drive down to New Hampshire and wash your mouth out with soap. How do you like that? So it's
is it
good to
wrong
be
that I look
back.
forward to that?
Yeah, just on Thanksgiving Eve. Thank you very much. So, but no, it's good to be back. I have watched the show from afar. I was traveling around. Obviously, my travels have slowed down. We'll get into that with you a little bit in the show. But it's good to be back, and it's good to have a good friend as Erik Wentworth on the show. I've known Erik since the time I started in the cigar business up in New England. One of the very first people I met. So it's great to have you on the show, and good to have it be the return show. I said I actually forgot that we had you on the show tonight. So when I popped into the room earlier, I was like super excited. It's like, oh, Eric's here. This is gonna be a great time.
Awesome.
So
Always a good time when we get together, bud.
So I'm smoking the Hammer and Sickle Series Unitas. That is a collaboration between Hammer and Sickle and United Cigar. Fantastic. Churchill. I would say out of all the cigars that you guys have, this is one of my favorites. I have with me also the sampler pack that you guys have out, the 4-pack.
Yep.
The Hammer and Sickle collection. And inside here, I'm going to open this up. You guys can find this at your local Hammer and Sickle retailer. And I don't know why I'm having such a hard time opening this bag. What the hell? All right, so far,
Struggling a bit there.
the packaging quality gets a low grade. I wish I knew someone I could tell about that.
Can
I just say?
User error, Eric.
Can I
User
just
error.
Wow.
Somebody had a
User
hard
error.
time
Wow.
to put the
Wow.
cigars into it.
I was gonna pat LFD on the back and be like, "Wow, I've never had this kind of problems with LFD's packaging." And then here you go, you take his side. So you know what? Fuck you.
It's a Ziploc bag. It's easy to get into, but
He's obviously never tried to open one of our LFD Ziploc bags, cigar bags, because they're freaking impossible. So we're no one to speak about these great bags, and I've had the same ones for 10 years. And it's kind of like, I don't know what you like. I honestly don't want to change it just because it's so annoying. It's kind of become like our signature that like, hey, you get an LFD bag. It keeps the product safe inside. Like nobody's going to be stealing that shit.
Well, not to mention the fact, can I also mention, Eric, really quick, because I was going to talk about this after, but since we're already on the topic, the box that these come in actually is zip tied closed. And so there's also difficult opening of packaging right there. But
I thought that was a really cool idea until it came in, and I'm like, this was obnoxious.
So there's actually a pretty unique reason for that. And it stems back to the fact that Eric is in the sneaker game as well.
Love sneakers.
And I know that the zip tie, I don't know exactly, you can fill me in here, but the zip tie thing is kind of like a homage to your love of the sneaker game. Is that correct?
So Off-White and Nike did a collab where Off-White's big signature thing is putting this like big obnoxious zip tie on like the end of the shoelaces or on the tag of the shirt. And honestly, I don't know why they do it. I don't get it. I just thought it looked cool, and I'm like, fuck it, let's put it on a cigar box. And so I figured on a collaboration, it made sense. What's happening in the background there?
I just muted him, so it's fine. He's opening his garage door.
I thought he was whistling.
How about you stop asking questions? All right, we're asking you the questions, Wentworth.
That's right. But yeah,
this is our show.
My sneaker thing.
So Off-White adds that little zip tie because they can charge an extra $200 for the shoe. That little zip tie is at least an extra $200.
Oh yeah,
bingo. Yep. Yeah, those shoes are ridiculously priced.
So in addition to that,
they're great. They're great designs and stuff, though. I do love the Off-White stuff, but man, they get crazy. It's like Supreme brand. Like you throw Off-White on it, and it's an extra $300.
Yep, it's insane. Makes no sense to me, but I still buy it.
So in addition to that, this is what was inside here.
So it should be a Toro of each.
Yes, it is. Right? Yeah, I'll let you go through the rundown, just so you guys at home can see.
You got the Hermitage there, which is our Ecuadorian Habano wrapper with Nicaraguan, Honduran, and German filler. And then the white label is our trademark with U.S. Connecticut, Dominican binder and filler. Then we have our trademark Maduro, which is a San Andreas Maduro wrapper, Dominican binder, filler again. And then we have our Tradicion, which is that's what we started the brand with. And that's a Ecuadorian Connecticut. And it has a little bit of Dominican Ligero in there to add a little pepper, a little spice, a little strength.
Yeah, so
isn't that a crazy thing that like Dominican Ligero now, like 15 years ago, you would never said, oh, we put Dominican Ligero in here for pepper and strength. And now you're talking about blends where it's like we're going to put Dominican Ligero in here for pepper and strength, and it's like a generally accepted thing. It's like, oh, okay, of course.
Well, I mean, San Andreas is the same way. Yeah, if you think about like 15 years ago, nobody was saying San Andreas Maduro wrapper. They were just saying Maduro because they're, Mexico. I don't know why, but nobody wanted to talk about it.
It's called San Andreas because nobody wanted to say Mexico. So like, oh, what valley is it?
Correct.
Oh, it's from the San Andreas Valley. Yep. Where's that at? Mexico. So we had to ask 3 questions to get to the point where somebody would say Mexico. Same thing with like at Peruvian tobacco goes through that. Now there's tons of Peruvian tobacco and a lot of blends, and nobody even talks about it. Tons of Peruvian tobacco.
The one of the things that I picked up off of this cigar, the Series Unidas Tradicion series, is definitely a little bit of spice. It's smooth. I like the size on it. Number one, I like that. It's slightly skinny for a Churchill, but I do enjoy it. Burns really well. Nice quality, nice construction, and the flavor is fantastic. There is a little bit of spice there, a little bit of pepper, with a slightly kind of sweet aftertaste on the finish, like on the back end. It's very enjoyable. It's not too strong. It's not too overbearing. I think it's a great mild to medium smoke. I think it would pair well with wine or a very good range of bourbon. Those are the 2 things that I primarily drink when I smoke cigars. I myself am a wine guy. John is a wine guy. Eric, I'm not sure if you're a wine guy, but I know you're a bourbon
Not a
guy,
wine guy.
and I'm also a
Yeah.
bourbon guy. So we have a little bit of on the alcohol spectrum here. We have a little bit, kind of all of us that we're kind of into. On top of that, not that we really wanted to talk about it, we wanted to kind of keep it bourbon because Eric and I are really into bourbon. But Hammer and Sickle also makes a vodka. So
Correct.
you guys do have a vodka line. I know that's not really your sanctum, but
No, it's not. No, that's I'm a cigar guy, but I still drink a lot of it
Yeah.
and enjoy it. I mean, it's the best vodka on the market.
I've never really been a big vodka guy. It probably stems from my 21st birthday when my best friend took me out. We drank way too much Grey Goose. And then I got sick after, and it's just kind of like ruined it for me. But I will say, there's been a few times where I've been at events with you, and you've been making cocktails with the Hammer and Sickle vodka, and it's actually really pretty good. It's really smooth. I find it to be just it's great straight, and it's also great, as a mixer too, like in a cocktail. So if
It's very clean.
yeah, clean. Yes, very clean. If I was to drink vodka, I think I would go with the Hammer and Sickle. Just kind of based on, like, I don't really know vodkas, but based on my experience with it, it's just been very good. It's easy, it's tasty, and it's obviously not very expensive either. So it's easily.
It's very good vodka. I drink it. It's on one of my preferred vodkas. I've had it purchased for me a lot of times from the folks at the liquor side of your business, and they've been big supporters of me on a social level on many nights going out. So I try to buy Hammer and Sickle. It's really good vodka, man. It's just good. It's great. It's great Moscow Mules. It's a really good vodka. And there's a lot of good vodkas out there, but that one I think really fits the part. The branding behind it's awesome, and it really stands up to what it is. You said the price is very reasonable for a high quality product like that. And I think the prices of your cigars are all actually very reasonable for the high quality product. I mean, you're working with great manufacturers and a lot of unique products, and I feel like that's kind of the same thing with the cigars and the vodka. It's really smooth. You got a lot of really good flavor profiles. You're working in great manufacturing, and I said great products for a reasonable price, in my opinion.
Yeah, appreciate that.
I would agree with that. I think that's really well said. It's the same with your cigars. Your cigars are priced really well. They're very good quality, especially for their price. Very flavorful. I always enjoy them when I smoke them. I don't think I've smoked everything in your line. I don't think I've ever had anything that I was like, I've always really enjoyed them. The Hermitage especially. I remember, I don't know why, I didn't have anything against it. I would see it, and I would it was on my list of things to try, and then I'd always end up smoking something else. It happens with a lot of cigars. But I finally, you gave me one at an event, and you're like, here, smoke this. And I was like, oh my God, I've been wasting my time.
Yeah.
Why didn't I try it? This is so good. Why have I not been on this already?
That's my favorite cigar in our line.
I think it is my favorite cigar in your line. I would say it would probably be the Hermitage, and then the Series Unidas Tradición Series. I think those are probably my two favorites.
Tell us a little bit about the Hermitage. I'm not as familiar with it.
So the Hermitage, we've always done, when we started, we were a very mild, medium, mild to mild plus. We never really did a medium bodied cigar. And so the Hermitage was kind of a take on what we would think, I don't want to say a geek cigar is, but, the cigar that person's looking for, the medium to full, that's got a different flavor profile. So that's why it has the German tobacco in it. Which is very unique, and that's another tobacco that some people use, but nobody talks about it because typically it's used for cigarettes. But if you get the right German tobacco growing in the right place, it's fantastic. So that's our medium to full offering, and it's again my favorite cigar that we have. Can't go wrong.
Now, Eric, you've been with Hammer and Sickle for how long now?
7-8 years, somewhere along there.
So in that time, you came in, you were a sales rep with the company, traveling around, selling the brand, getting to know the brand, getting into the industry, and you worked your way up the ladder, and now you're the vice president. And so before that, I know you worked under, was it Eric Hansen?
Yes. Yeah. Hansen was the owner of Hammer and Sickle. or Clint, and so
Who
he was my
passed
direct
away.
supervisor or boss who passed.
Yeah.
And so when he passed, that's kind of when I was handed the reins to, see what I can do with the company. And now I work very closely with Anthony Filetra and Eric's father, Rick. We're just trying to make some good shit happen and carry on his legacy and, live his dream.
Yeah. I think you've done a fantastic job so far. I remember when you
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I think, I've known you, I think, about as long as you've been in your current position, and I've been familiar with the brand for a long time. It's one of the first cigars I ever smoked was a Hammer and Sickle, and I think you're doing a great job. Not just because we're friends outside of the show, but you are. I mean, you guys had some really good stuff coming out. Especially the series You Need Us came out last year, and I remember we did that on the Ashholes podcast that I formerly was on. It's always a good time. Whenever you guys are around. So I wanted to get you on the show for a long time, but you know how it goes. So I'm glad.
It's been tough with COVID.
Yeah, the COVID thing is just it fucking with everybody, but I'm glad we finally got you on here. Because there's a lot we could talk about. We could talk about cigars. We could talk about bourbon. We could talk about sports with you. We have a sports segment we'll get to in a little bit. First, I do want to hit really quickly. I want to hit our news segment because I have a couple of hot items. I think both you guys can definitely chime in on. So with that, we're going to go to our news segment brought to you by McAuliffe Cigars. McAuliffe, if you're not an ambassador, head over to McAuliffe Cigars and become an ambassador today. And we have Sorry, I just got a random message from Jon Carney. Tell Eric to get off of the video chat. No, I'm just kidding. No. So first things first.
Why is he still on the show?
I thought he was leaving.
It was only supposed to be 10 minutes.
Just remember, in the true theory of the true spirit of Thanksgiving, they stuffed the turkey with a lot of food prior to killing them. We've been stuffing you with compliments right now. The second half of the show is going to be, time to meet your maker.
Makes me feel pretty. I'm not excited for this.
All right.
So
all right, it's time for the news by McAuliffe Cigars.
Yeah, thank you for the re-intro there. If you head over to SmokinTabacco.com, you can read all about it. But one of the biggest things that came out this week was Habanos SA has officially canceled the Habanos Festival, known as Festival del Habano, in Cuba for 2021 due to, you guessed it, the coronavirus. Not really surprised. By the way everything's going lately, it's getting really bad again. And, TPE was already moved to later in the year. The Habanos Festival takes place in February. That's already been canceled now. So I think you're going to see another round of basically what we saw this year continue to happen as we go into next year. I thought maybe, hey, we could start 2021 on a fresh leg, but apparently not. However, one of the other things that came with this announcement, and I'll actually read the release from Habanos. Due to the global context we are living, Habanos SA has decided to cancel the 23rd Habano Festival scheduled for February 2021. The company, as a worldwide market leader, is working to surprise the Habano aficionados in 2021 year in which our most prestigious brand, Cohiba, celebrates its 55th anniversary. Best regards, Habanos SA. Now, anybody who smokes cigars, you guys know it. Everybody knows Cohiba. It's probably one of the biggest names in the world. For people living in the United States who hunt down Cuban cigars, it's probably the most sought after. It's definitely the most shown off Cuban cigar when people have them. And I thought that was interesting. They kind of, they make a grim announcement, but they leave it on kind of a happy note, like, oh, we have something that we're going to be doing to celebrate 55 years of Cohiba. Now, I thought it was worth mentioning that the last milestone or anniversary with Cohiba that they celebrated, they released the Bahique line, which now has become like the newest thing that everyone has to have. So it'll be interesting to see what Cohiba, adds, or Habanos adds to the Cohiba line, or what they do with it. I don't know. It sounds like there's a little bit of a tease there, so I'm interested to see what comes out of that. I don't know. Thoughts, comments, John?
I mean, I don't. The 50th anniversary of Cohiba, I don't think they did I don't think the Bahique came out then.
No, that came
was out prior.
No, that was 45. That
was 45
10 years ago-ish.
45. Yeah. Yeah. So they didn't celebrate a 50th, but they did. I think they just celebrated the 100th anniversary of actual Habanos Essay or something like that just recently. I think it was a couple years back. I think our friend Oliver the Forward went down to that. But no, I mean, it's not surprising that it's canceled. I mean, the challenge with it is it's in February. By February, we may very well be, headed in a really positive direction. But they're selling this event now. You know what I mean? So you're better off postponing earlier than later than having to give a bunch of discounts and things back. And giving people enough time to adjust their plans. And I would assume that probably with the way their ticket sales and things were going for it, that there was just not a lot of people going to travel to it. So it's not a surprise. I think you'll probably end up seeing the same thing with Pro Cigar potentially, which is around the same time. Again, we could be through the woods then at that period of time, which I think we're probably likely going to be, in a much better situation. But again, you're planning now, and it's you're going to make the decision based off of what the current climate is. And it's also not surprising that COVID cases are rising. The holidays are going on. So you're going to have a COVID rise because more people are getting tested because they're traveling. Mm-hmm. You're going to have more rise in it because you have more people taking tests after the holidays, after Thanksgiving. And then you're going to have another rise at Christmas and New Year's. And then you'll start to see in January where people settle into a little bit more normal routine, vaccines out, and then people stop taking as many tests, and you'll start seeing that naturally come down. The thing that's important to see right now, which is factual, is the more people are getting tested, the more positive results there are, but the lower the death rate is, which is great. So we're headed in the right direction. Hospitalizations are going down. So that's all good stuff, but it's a reality right now. There's going to be a lot more positive tests. There's going to be a lot more going on. Just people are out and around. And, I've talked to people this week that were getting tested that had never been tested before, and they were getting tested because they're going to see their mom, their dad, their grandparents, and whatnot. So, yeah, expect more of that for the next couple months. And I said, I think we'll have a better game plan. This has nothing to do politically. Just going to have a better game plan as an economy. We're going to have a better game plan on a personal level of what we're going to be comfortable doing, which will really guide the decisions that companies make in terms of festivals, events, and in their business dealings.
Yeah, I think that's well said. I mean,
wow, you went full VP there. That was very.
He's very vice presidential.
When I got to do it, I can get it done, baby. I can get it done. I'm not all American flag.
Eric, can I just say, I think that's John's way of saying, you taking notes, Bob? Step up your game. All right? You want a seat at the table?
I mean, everybody's getting by. Everybody wants to be a lion until it's time to do lion things. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to be a lion. Time to lion
I'm kind of pissed he went first because mine was just going to be up. Good.
Yeah, I'd like to pass this over to my spokesman, Jonathan Carney. He's actually have a prepared statement that I've prepared for him today.
Jesus, the diggers come out, and all of a sudden John just gets fired up. He's still got a long way to go.
Dude, I'm only like a half an inch in. It's ridiculous. We're 20 minutes into the show, and I'm a half an inch into this freaking cigar.
So before I get to the next headline, I just want to say, so when John did the
Eric can have the next headline. I'll let him have the next headline.
I don't want it.
So
I don't want it.
That's fine. So when John came down to do the gourmet smoke sessions at Two Guys Smoke Shop, I was there. I was on hand, and I helped him out with the event. And I don't know why, but I got there nice and early, and I was like, I'm gonna smoke LFD tonight. What do I smoke? And for whatever reason, I grabbed a digger. And I lit it up, and I went upstairs, and there was John sitting in the podcast studio on the couch, and he's just kind of hanging out, and he's like, "Hey, bro," and he's, "Whoa, are you smoking a digger?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know why." And he was like, "That's a lot of cigar."
It's a lot of bang for your buck, though.
Yeah, I ended up smoking that whole cigar. That was around. I think I got there around like 5:30. I think I finally dropped that in the ashtray at like 9:15.
How long do you have lockjaw for?
Oh, man. It was rough. It was rough the next day. No, I was actually okay. It was good. I
love that cigar.
I milked it. I enjoyed it. I had fun. I didn't try to smoke it too fast. I mean, that's the thing with a big cigar. Sometimes people are like, oh my God. And they try to smoke it because they get I think intimidated by the length of the grain gauge, and they try to smoke it faster. And I'm like, nope, just let it burn. Enjoy it.
Yeah, you gotta enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah. I got a good 4 hours out of it. It was fantastic. But the other thing that came out this week that kind of caught my eye here was a bill, I guess, that's being proposed in New York State could increase New York cigar tax to 129%.
That's insane.
I mean, at this point, I mean, I want to turn. First, we'll go with Erik. We'll let Erik start, and then Jon, I know you have something to say. So, but we'll let Erik answer first. But I mean, at this point, it's like, where do you even go? I mean, now this is the beginning of them trying to price cigars out of the market, in a sense, by overtaxing them. Yeah.
New York doesn't want to sell cigars. That's, their game plan is just tax it out so they can't buy it. I mean, their tax percentage is already what, 80-something%? It just went up
75.
It's 75. I mean, it's ridiculous. And
Utah's the highest in the country with 86% with no cap.
And New York wants to go to 120. I can't imagine
129.
I can't imagine that goes through. But I mean, I'm very fortunate. We're based out of New Hampshire, where we have the Cigar Association in New Hampshire, which I know, Jon, you work closely with and everything too. And a couple other states have that. But I mean, I just can't imagine how it gets that far along. And
yeah,
I can't see it going through.
Well,
but I was shocked that this last
thing
one.
is, yeah, it hasn't even. Well, the thing with the last one is it was already on the books. It was just a wording issue, and they fixed the wording in the government. It was like and or if and but, something like that. So they switched the wording, and then this other one, it didn't really get to this point. It was fast. It just happened. Somebody proposed it. And here's what's going to happen. I'm on the record of talking about this. People have said I'm know-it-all because I say this. First of all, they can go screw themselves. Second, one other thing I said is companies are going to have layoffs. There's going to be more companies that have layoffs throughout this. It's going to be later on. We're already seeing some companies now that haven't been announced, but there's companies that have had just recently had layoffs this past week. And this is the reality is that things are going to happen. Taxes are going to increase on certain products, and when these governments look to balance their budgets and look to create their budgets for the year, they come after things that are, in their minds, vices, and they don't have any idea how this works. Like in their mind, we collect X number of dollars in tobacco tax and on vape taxes and this. So if we raise it up to this level, those people are still going to buy it. They're still going to want it. And they don't. At 129%, they go somewhere else and they find a way to either bootleg it or buy it somewhere else so they don't have to have the tax. They don't have to deal with it. So that's really what's happening in New York, and it's happening quick. And I'll be honest, I wouldn't be shocked if it actually went through. And I wouldn't be shocked if there's more states that do this because there's budget shortfalls. I mean, we just printed trillions of dollars worth of money. I know it's on a federal level, but there's budget shortfalls from tax revenues. Like in the state of Maine, there's budget shortfalls because there was no tourism over the summer. I mean, it's hundreds of millions of dollars. Where does that come from? Taxes. So they have to make it up with taxes, and they never make it up short term. They've put it in, and they leave it there forever. It's like the toll. We're going to put a toll on a bridge to pay for the bridge, Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. The goal was to have a tollway to pay for the bridge. Once the bridge paid for itself, the tolls came down. Guess what? The tolls are still there. Same thing. They're going to do this with the taxes to balance the budget, and they're just going to keep spending more and more money, and it's just such an easy target, and they have no idea how it actually affects things until after, and then they're like, oh, well, I guess people just aren't smoking as many cigars in the state of New York. No, they are. They're just not buying it from you.
It's just driving the tax dollars out of the state.
Mm-hmm.
Next time I do the show, can I get cliff notes, though, so I'm not as underprepared?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry about that, Erik.
No, I'm just kidding.
Don't do show notes. Don't do show notes here at Smokin Tabacco, bro. No show notes.
I'm just
Erik, don't get too excited. I was being sarcastic. Jesus Christ. Get on the same page. Anyway, no, that's gonna take care of the news this week. Yeah, so I mean, a couple of big items in the news. I can't say either one of them really surprised me when I read them, but I think the tax one just kind of was really like, really? Okay, we're here now. But
the tax one surprised me because it just happened. There was one; it just went through in October. How?
No, I know, but it's New York, and I mean, come on,
it's
New York.
Insane.
Yeah, if it was
it's wild. It popped up today. I read it on one of the blogs. It popped up, and I was like, man, that's a pretty high number. And I was like, I'm not shocking. Like, I was just like, I've watched this for 10 years, and they just don't get it. And they have a huge budget shortfall, and they're gonna imagine living in the state of New York right now. I mean, that New York City used to be the greatest city in the world, right? I mean, it's a joke. I mean, it's
people are moving out of New York.
Everything
anyway
costs it's $30 for a Hammer and Sickle martini. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You could buy the whole bottle for $30. It's crazy. And the numbers are like they're going to take a $14 cigar and it's going to cost over $24. Like, that's literally insane. Like, who would do that? Imagine something else that was taxed that much and the blowback that would come from that. A legal product. Imagine if they taxed milk 128%. I mean, there'd be riots in the streets.
Yep,
There'd
never
be
happened.
riot in the street for everything. It'd be crazy. It never happened. Imagine if they tried to tax, like, candy bars 128%. Imagine if they tried to tax sodas like 128%, and they tried to do it in New York. Bill Bloomberg tried to do it, minimizing the ounces of sodas. And
Yeah, you
it's
couldn't have more than
in
20
New York,
ounces or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and they lost because they lost it because it was just a bigger target, and people got annoyed by it. Everyone consumes a soda product of some kind or a soft drink, even if it's diet or whatever. So, like, people were like, "This is crazy." But with this stuff, it's an easy target. It's a small industry, and that's where they start. They start with small businesses so people don't notice. And then the big companies get bigger because they're the only ones that can play ball. Same thing in the banking industry, same thing in the healthcare industry, same thing in this industry, same thing in the cigarette business. It's the same thing. This is just a way of making it so the little people can't compete, and they don't even know it, and they do it because they think they're trying to do the right thing, and they're just a bunch of jokers.
Actually, I have
And that's the news.
So that was the also the other McAuliffe Cigars segment, Carneynomics, brought to you by McAuliffe Cigars. Freddie Nader, our friend Freddie Nader, who I think John, you know Freddie, don't you?
I know Freddie.
Who's watching along with us is in the comments, and Eric, you know Freddie really well, and he says,
I played golf with Freddie a couple months ago.
yeah, and well, Freddie, had some very kind words for you, and he says Eric looks like he lives outside. I'm just reading the comments from the audience. You can take it as you will.
He's not actually at his house. He's at somebody else's house outside, waiting for them to throw him out.
I had to steal someone's Wi-Fi. we gotta wrap this up quick, guys. Some lights just turned on. So,
whose house is this? No, yeah, I just wanted to read that off here. I need to get a good kick out of that. But yeah, so Eric, back to Hammer and Sickle. As I continue to smoke through the cigar, finally. Oh, okay. Wow, I didn't know we were waiting. I thought it was going to be the bashing hour now. That the 10 minutes of stuffing compliments.
Oh, you know what? It is technically past. It's the second half.
Oh, yeah. See,
let's not call it the 10 minutes of stuffing. I don't like that terminology.
Well, can I just say before the show started, this is Eric, this is where you get burned because I'm going to say it anyway. So we were talking about bourbon because Eric and I are bourbon people, and we were talking about Pappy. I have some Pappy, he's had Pappy, and we were talking about which ones we like or whatever. And he had said to me, word for word, the Pappy Van Winkle 15 is the best liquid I've ever put in my mouth. Word for word, that's what he said. And then he said, probably shouldn't have said it that way. That was a poor choice of words. And I'm like, it's too late. It's already out there.
Yeah.
So what is it about the Pappy 15 that does it for you? Because I know everybody's got their own thing, but like, what is it that does it for you on that bourbon?
So I'm not like a high octane bourbon guy. I don't want the 120, 130 proof stuff. The 15 is a lower proof. You get a lot more of like the caramel notes, and it's so much smoother. Like the Pappy 20, I was gifted a bottle, and I opened it, and I was just so disappointed in the liquid. You know what I mean? It just wasn't what you'd expect for a bottle that you see reselling for $2,500.
Yep.
And the 15, it's so smooth. It's very good. I'm not good at describing bourbon because it all just makes me happy.
Right.
Yeah, that's what it's about, man.
I have a bottle of the Van Winkle 12-year Lot B from the Van Winkle line.
That's very good too.
That's another good one, and I believe it's the lowest proofed of all of the Van Winkles, and that one's a 90.
I think the 15's close to it.
Yeah,
I think the 15's not far off.
But
aren't you kind of waiting for them to come out like a Mommy Van Winkle or something like that, like a limited run sometime? Like that's definitely going to happen sometime in the future. They come out like a Mommy Van Winkle or Grandmommy.
You mean like where Johnny Walker came out with Jane Walker? They did the female version, like special edition.
Did they really do that?
They did last Christmas. Yep, it was called the Jane Walker. Yeah. And it had like a woman on it.
I just think that's brilliant marketing. I mean, these small batch bourbon people are masters of marketing, right? People want that. They want the the allocated. I mean, dude, how many times a week do you text me when you're actually hunting? That when you're out getting your stag junior, like, oh, I'm hunting, and like you get after it. These people get after it. I mean, they got you hook, line, and sinker, and it's good stuff too at the same time. But I mean, there's part of that's what they're doing. I mean, allocated bourbons exist for a reason. It's to create excitement, and it's honestly out there to help them sell other products in their portfolio. So you make this great allocated bourbon, and then the company that sells it can also sell like 99 bananas and all these other things. So it's interesting.
Well,
Did you just time travel?
Yeah, what just happened?
Yeah, dude. Matt, are you still here, Matt?
Hold on, guys.
Uh-oh.
This is the Erik and Carney show now. The Wentworth Carney. By the way, it sounds like a law firm.
Like
the law firm of Wentworth Carney.
It does. You're going to have to be the guy who does all the talking, though. Way more
no
professional.
So it's our show. So yeah, but these small batch bourbons, man. I was just doing an event last week down in South Florida, and they were doing a bunch of small batch bourbons. And one of those sales reps was a small batch bourbon sales rep, and he was interesting because he was having similar discussions that we have in the cigar business with small limited edition runs of cigars.
Yep.
And it was quite fascinating to talk with him about the small batch bourbons and that whatnot. And then I said to him, he's like, oh, it's challenging. I go to these events. I was like, hey, can you get me this? Can you get me that? And he goes, these people really are hunting. And I said, oh, I've got a close friend of mine who's a hunter and whatnot. But I think it's interesting. You picked like the Pappy 15 straight up. Like that's your favorite. And because I think I've had they have a 28 too, right?
23.
Okay.
Hey guys, just give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Sorry, I lost everything in here, and my router and everything just went down. I'm on another network. Yeah, show's still running because Nicole's hosting it from a different location. But I gotta jump over and fix something. So, John, if you could actually.
Yeah. So Erik, I do have a couple questions for you.
Help me out here.
Interesting.
I don't.
Erik. Huh? What?
Oh boy. There we go. Okay.
I was saying now it's us. So Erik, I was going to ask you. So
I'm still here. I just turned off my video.
I'm going to ask this question, Mr. Wentworth. So during COVID, it's obviously been challenging. I don't think people realize how much you actually do in the company. I do because you and I talk about it a lot. I mean, you handle office work, you handle distribution personally. Like you'll pack boxes from time to time, things you sell. So you really have your hands in everything, and it's a really interesting role in the cigar business because a lot of these companies don't have that type of stuff. And so you guys are small, and kind of I would say kind of almost small batch in sense, like some of these small batch bourbons. So like during COVID, what have you experienced in your current state of brands? Have you experienced increase in demand there? And then also, what did this do for you in terms of your projects that you had going forward? Because again, being small, you plan things out differently. Where is this position you?
Any limited editions we were going to do, any new projects we were working on have been pushed off at this point, unfortunately, indefinitely. Because during this as well, I mean, the box factories in the Dominican, they're still trying to play catch up. And, again, I'm a smaller company, boutique-ish, craftish, whatever you want to call it. We're not their main concern. So, they're not going to open the box factories and start going again.
Got a special guest here in the background. Oh, nobody can see you. My mother's in the background. I go, we have a special guest here in the background. She goes, no, we don't. The angel of love, Jon Carney, says happy Thanksgiving to the Smokin Tabacco world. So thank you for that. It's interesting. And it's a matter of, so it's unique. So our company owns our own farms, factories, distribution. So we do everything in-house. And so our experience right at the beginning of COVID was a situation of shortage immediately. And cigar companies now are seeing shortages in demand, as you said, because there's different places they're trying to catch up. There was really 2 or 3 months of closures down there, and that took time to reopen things. And we're starting to see that now in terms of new projects coming out. Things are being delayed across the board. Projects that were going to happen were pushed off. We're still seeing new products and things come out, but those are products that were slated 6, 7, 8 months ago. that are coming out now. So it really put everything
just
back
getting
about 8
delivered
months.
now. It's ridiculous.
Mhm.
Demand's never been higher for our product, but getting product has been an issue. Obviously, like you said, they're shut down for 2 or 3 months. They're still playing catch up, and we're just getting bits and pieces, and we're constantly on back order. For majority of our product at this point, it comes in and goes right out. So, which isn't
guys,
a terrible
sorry about
problem to have, but
didn't mean to cut you off there, Eric. Sorry. I just I don't know what happened. I just all my power went down. I lost the lights. I lost the hotspot up here, and well, I have a whole network up here actually just dedicated for the show, so that way we have a nice signal, and so that's why everything's kind of dropped off. I'm not sure why, but I'll have to deal with that later. I just want to kind of get everything back up and running, so I had a good signal and everything for the show. But I apologize for that. I'm sorry, but thankfully, actually, Nicole is hosting the show from another location, so the show actually continued, and you guys kept it going. So thank you both for that. I wanted to touch on one thing, not to change the subject or anything, but I did want to touch on one thing.
all good.
We are hosting, or not hosting, but we're holding votes for our Smokin Tabacco Cigar of the Year for 2020. You can go and vote for that on our website at smokintabacco.com. We've got the links on our Facebook page and in the Smokin Tabacco Facebook group, so you can definitely find the links on there. You head over there, vote. We're holding votes from now through Christmas Eve at midnight. And so far, I believe, I haven't checked it today, but for the most part, so far, the McAuliffe A has been leading the votes for Cigar of the Year. Right behind it is the Supreme Leaf from Aganorsa Leaf. And then right behind that is, I believe in third place right now, is the 25th anniversary from La Flor Dominicana. So the folks over there should be really proud. Also in there is the Platinum Batch from Nova, the 10th anniversary Sungrown from Perdomo, and the Hot Cake from HVC. I'm going to check the polls right now, actually, give you an accurate reading. And we have, so the McAuliffe A is still in the lead with 35 votes. Aganorsa Leaf has 25, the LFD has 12, and the 10th anniversary Sungrown from Perdomo 17. So nice little voting there. Still have a long way to go. Make sure you guys get on there. Go on the website. Vote for Cigar of the Year. And as I said before, the winner will be our official Cigar of the Year. We'll have someone from that company come on the show. We'll do a special episode and a couple other things we haven't announced yet. So just wanted to touch on that really quickly.
When's our contest winner going to come on the show?
That's actually a great question. So Nicole and I have been working on that. We've been talking about it. Due to some scheduling issues and some stuff we've been that we've been dealing with here, we haven't been able to make that happen. But now that we're kind of getting things into full swing, and we're trying to communicate with him and get him to have some available time to come on the show, hopefully soon. I know that we have been in talks with him. I think there was some issues with his scheduling, and then just some things just kind of got away from us. But no, that's a great question. There is still a spot for the contest winner from our last giveaway. We'd love to have him on the show. He just kind of has to work with us on the schedule there, so we can get him on here. We do have Leo from Nova Cigars coming on next week, and then followed by Oliver Nouveau from United Cigar, December 9th. So we do have some other fun guests coming on as well. As I said, we got Eric here tonight, and we have a nice little list. We also have a couple other people we're trying to get in here before the end of the year, and then next year's a new year. So, but yeah, I wanted to drop on that. Next, we do have our sports segment, which I know both of you guys can totally get in on. But I have to admit, it's been a few weeks since I've had Jon on the show, and even before the last couple of shows he was on, there's something that he didn't do. So it's been a good, I want to say like at least 5 weeks since I've seen a soap review from Jon Carney. And there it is.
How many soaps do you have, Carney?
I got a lot of soap. I like to be clean, but I'm a member of a soap club. It's called the Outlaw Soap Club. Are we doing the soap review right now? Are we doing this live? Is this what's going
That
down?
would be my guess.
If you wouldn't mind, I would love to do the soap.
Yeah, let's
review
do
now.
it.
Did I catch
So
you
I've
off guard?
got,
I'm
so
sorry.
yeah,
I want to
no,
that.
I'm ready to roll. So yeah,
I'm here for this.
it's a big
bud.
deal. So I'm a member of the Outlaw Soap Club. I'm willing to do any soap. We've had some of our viewers hand deliver some soaps for us that we reviewed, and I think the highest score we've doled out is 7.9. It's from one of the Outlaws. But this is, I get a bar of soap a month from them. They actually send me a smaller bar too, but they send me a large one. So today we have the Outlaw Soap Company. This is the liveoutlaw.com. So you go to liveoutlaw.com to get a part of this. And this is the Bar Soap Mountain Hideout. Give yourself cabin fever. So here we go. You're on the run, and the best place to hide is up in the mountain. The mountain smells like freedom and promise. Pine with a whiff of campfire on the breeze. A little wet earth from the recent rains, but not enough to make tracks. Your native friends taught you all about walking lightly and leaving no trace. It feels good to put that knowledge to use now, knowing that the stinking town and its legal clutches are well behind you. You're in the mountains now. So here we go. Get a little smell here. We will go inside.
Is that your first time reading that?
Yeah, first time ever. And this is the Outlaw Soap Mountain Hideout. So we're gonna have a little. Says it's got a little taste. Got a little smell of freedom and promise. So a pine and a whiff of campfire. So this is
Now,
craft soap. This falls in the craft soap category.
Is this like Dave Portnoy, one sniff, everyone knows the rules?
Ooh, I like that.
It may have some similarities.
Okay.
So here we go. So this would fall in the craft soap category. You can tell it's hand cut, fresh cut soap. So this is good. I like craft soaps. I'm not a big fan of commercial soaps or what I like to call holiday soaps. Very strong pine. It's kind of similar to the last one I did from Outlaw Soap. I can't remember what it's called. But let's venture inside here real quick. So here we go. A little tour. Going to the sink here. It's a little cold out. We're from the garage today. So that's a challenge. Now, here we go.
This is my new favorite thing ever, by the way.
Everyone
it's
on the
awesome.
show, they have no idea what's going on. So here we go. Let's get the Carhartt off. I don't like to use hot water.
Love it.
Nice medium water. So here we go. I like to wet the hands a little bit. I like to wet the soup a little bit. So we don't really have a scale here. This has got really good lather. I mean, look at that already. I barely even touched
it. Gritty?
Lather. No, this is not gritty at all. This is a craft soap. So this is it's not very oily. They use essential oils in these. So essential oils tend to not be very oily, like we think when you use more commercial soaps. They tend to be a little more oily and a little. Let's say oily is on the term greasy. They tend to be greasy. So these aren't greasy at all. It's just really healthy. And then another thing with this, man, this is getting some great lather. Look at that. Wow. Another thing with this is craft soaps like this aren't very astringent. They put like sodium benzoates, and I don't know if those are the actual names of the chemicals, but they put a lot of that stuff to make your hands feel astringent, make you feel clean. So this has got great lather. This is the best lather I've had from this company's soap. Man, this is a good one. Not very strong in the pine. Moderate scent. The soap itself had a good smell at first. It was stronger on the dry sniff than it is now on the wet sniff.
I'm loving the terms, man.
Yeah, it's a little greasy, but not. It's that natural. This is very classic craft soap. And doesn't have a lot of lingering scent, which is a good thing. That means there's not a lot of fake chemicals in there. It feels good on the hands. It was moisturizing. We're going to give the Outlaw Mountain Soap. Again, this is very consistent with those soaps. I think the lather on it was better than I've had before in the other soaps from Outlaw Soap. So I'm going to give this. This is just as good as Fire in the Hole in terms of performance. Lather's a little better. The scent on Fire in the Hole is a little higher. I'm going to go 7-8 on this. So we got 7-8 on the Outlaw Mountain Soap. So 7-8.
7-8. That's a good score.
It's a good soap, man. You know I like those Outlaw soaps. I really like craft soaps. So I'm going to have to check out some other craft soap places because I think there's a lot of great craft soap out there. And I'd really like to establish a strong system, a strong rating system on the soap. And I think we've done a good job. And I think Outlaw is really setting the standard of what a score is. So, I mean, you're going to have to be a pretty damn good soap to be above 7.9 or be in the 8s for me. But I am needing to venture out. And I feel like, too, I owe it to Outlaw to see what other soaps are out there, because maybe their soaps are rated higher. Maybe they should be higher than 7s, the high 7s. I don't know. But, we've been doing a lot of commercial
stuff. Have you tried Dr. Squatch? Is that a soap?
That sounds familiar.
Well, it's the one that's on Facebook with the brunette girl that's bathing in it, and then it's very sultry ads. But I haven't used it. I heard it's amazing, and those are craft soaps as well. So that's probably the next one up on my list as we get into 2021. Once I work through all the soaps that Outlaw has.
I like it.
What
a fun segment.
John's part of the soap club, and there's another club thing that he is a part of, and I actually just enrolled myself into, and I think we could touch on this a little bit, and that's the wine club, John. So we're both part of the Gary V Wine Club now. I don't know if John, I don't know if you want to give like a quick rundown on that. I'm excited to get my first shipment.
So the Vaynerchuk family started this wine company, this wine retailer called WineLibrary.com. I started over the summer doing their wine club. Gary V, the son, big into wine, and he started a wine club on their website. And it started to grow. It was just one of his projects. So I got into it. I've always followed him for over 15 years. So I started doing the wine club. We were drinking some wine. So I talked to Matthew. I was like, hey, man, you should grab some of these wines and we can drink these together, whether we're, away or whatever, FaceTime, or we can do something on the show, or just do it separate just for fun, have cigars and talk about the wine. And they send you 3 different ones every month for like $60. It's always a higher value than that. So it's just been fun because I tend, when I drink wine, I think the same way with people do with cigars, you go to what you're comfortable with, or you go to what you like and what you know. So when you do one of these clubs, it forces you to try different things and try different products. So like yesterday, I had very good wine yesterday, and I had another very good one today that I would not have normally grabbed. Probably would never even known about it, or even just that varietal, and that blend of the grapes in it. So I had a really good time with it, and Matthew joined it. So we're looking forward to doing that and talk about that. And I said, there's a lot of these little products, and I encourage people in cigars to step outside of your comfort zone. Always stick with your regulars, but try other stuff, and see what other people have to offer, whether it's through a club or whether it's something that's new in the store, or something that's an older product that you might not have tried before. Because sometimes what's new is what you haven't had. It doesn't have to be just
fun with
new
cigars, though.
Yeah,
smoking different. It's what I love about it. Wine's always scared me, though. I've never gotten into wine because I know nothing about it. And when you walk into a liquor store, the wine selection is just like overbearing. There's so much happening.
It's overwhelming.
It's confusing.
It is.
And I just, I always just tend to walk away from it, yeah. It's just always kind of scared me a little bit.
For me, I was never huge into wine, and then I just I started drinking it, I don't know, socially, lightly. And then when I met Nicole, I started drinking a little bit more wine, and then when Carney and I started hanging out more, I started drinking even more wine, and I just started to really get into it and appreciate it. And it's kind of been one of my newer things that I've been getting into. I started like most people. I had the California, cabs and whatnot, and I recently just started exploring European wines, specifically Italians, like Italian reds, and it's kind of my new favorite thing. Is Italian reds and Pinots of multiple regional varieties, but like Pinot Noirs, because I like a red wine. But I've had some red blends and whatnot from Italy, and even like specifically the Sicilian variety, and they've just been phenomenal. Just some great wine. That's kind of been my thing with wine lately. I'm still trying to dive deep into it. Like John and I were on the phone last night, and there's blends that I've never even had, Syrahs and stuff like that, and I'm like, hey, like I don't even know what that is, and he had to like kind of tell me, and I'm like, all right, I guess I'll try it. So I'm still not any expert in wine or even close to being one. So
but you enjoy it.
I do enjoy it though. I find wine to be very delicious. If I want to have social drinks, or if I just want to have some sort of drink, but I don't want to really commit to drinking bourbon, wine's a nice alternative. It's not too, it's a different experience, and I enjoy it. And I've been finding certain wines to pair with certain cigars, and when you get the right match, it makes for a really nice experience, and that's really exciting. So I'm glad that I have people like John that can share the wine with, and I'm glad I have friends like you that I can share the bourbon with. It's like this is what I was talking about earlier. There's a nice little mix here of wine and bourbon people, and we all bonded over cigars. So that's the most important part. With that, I do want to hit the sports segment really quick. So
Make it happen.
let's see. Mostly, as John and I have been talking about, it's been mostly football. Everything else is kind of done. NBA bubble, NHL bubble, Major League Baseball, NASCAR's over, and now we have NHL. I'm sorry, the NFL. So I know that I was watching some of the highlights and reading some of the news from the Bucks game this week where they played. Was it the Rams? I believe they played, and there was a pretty interesting. Johnny, I think you know where I'm going with this. There was an interesting move that Tom Brady made, where he made a forward pass that bounced back, receives the ball, and then proceeds to throw it again, which was ruled. The second pass was ruled an illegal pass. However, I found
it was an absolute riot. It was an absolute riot in real time. In real time, you saw the ball get batted down, and the camera moved.
Yeah.
So it moved away, and then all of a sudden, you see the ball come back into the picture. So when they showed it, was cool. It was a really, it was just a fun little play, but obviously illegal. One thing about that Bucks game was very eerily the way the Patriots lost football games last year. Like that was exactly when I watched that game, I felt like I was watching the 2019 Patriots. I was like, man, that's how we lost games. And I'm not saying anything was Brady's fault. The defense needed to be better and this and that. But obviously those two picks he threw were terrible. And he's the GOAT, and that's fine. But I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, man, that was just like how the Patriots lost games. Leonard Fournette dropped like 4 passes. It was just awful. It was a bad game. I don't really even want to get into the Patriots because people want to blame it on Cam Newton. I blame it on them spending all that salary cap and not having anyone that can block on the outside. And then depending on your
Which I
second
was
string
going to
defense,
ask you.
8 players are backed off. Like they just don't block, man. They have no tight ends. Our tight end is 6'3" and 225 pounds. He's tiny. He doesn't even try to block. Izzo sucks. The outside tackles are just terrible. And I think Cam's part of the solution, not part of the problem in New England. And I really hope they give him a shot. And I think they will next year because he's the best option out there, in my opinion, in terms of active players. But I think the biggest story in sports right now is the cancellation tomorrow night of one of the Thanksgiving games. The Ravens and the Pittsburgh game is canceled. So we only have one game tomorrow.
Why did they do that? I saw that. I didn't get to read it. I saw it right before I came on to do this. Why did they end up doing that?
There was just too many. I guess there was too many positive COVID tests, so they were concerned with that, which is interesting because the Ravens just played like 3.5 days ago. I guess so. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they pushed it to Sunday. I'm not sure what it is, but it was interesting they announced that. So there'll be just one game tomorrow, which will be fun. But in sports, basketball's starting up on December 1st. Training camp starts on the 21st. The season starts like 2 weeks after that. So NBA's coming back. NHL's coming back. So it's going to be really interesting to watch because the NBA was in the bubble. They won't be in the bubble anymore. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. So there's definitely a lot of fascinating things. And we're about to be in the thick of some serious sports. We're going to have NFL, NBA, NHL. Who knows? Baseball might start up. College basketball is going to start playing. College football is still trying to figure out what they're doing. It's an exciting time to watch sports because of how many factors there are, outside, factors that are being placed on how these games play. But I don't know how you feel about the NFL season. You're a Patriots guy, I'm assuming, Eric.
I'm not. I'm a Cowboys fan. So it's been a rough one.
And that concludes the Smokin Tabacco show for tonight. We'll see you guys next week with Platinum Nova Cigars. This was a real letdown.
Technical difficulties.
Sports just in general for me during COVID haven't been fun to watch. Like the lack of fans, it hasn't been nearly as exciting.
I like the energy.
The only thing I've been watching really is golf. I've been loving watching golf recently.
Yeah, but that's because there's nothing different because no one's there anyway. And it's
So
so
I'm
hacked.
actually going.
No one at the Masters,
I'm
man.
actually-
Come on.
Yeah, Masters is great. So I'm actually going to a soccer game this weekend on Sunday. I'm going to the New England Revolution versus the Orlando City Club down in Orlando.
Nice.
So I'm actually going to a soccer game on Sunday. So that'll be my first live sporting event in almost a year. So
How
I'm
many
looking
fans
forward to
are
doing
allowed?
that and seeing some. I'm not quite sure. I think they're at 50% down there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Florida, so it's the Wild West. But yeah, so going to that over the weekend, so that should be a really good time. I got good company going to that too, so that should be exciting. But yeah, so that'd be my first live sporting event. So I'm looking forward to that. So I'll report back next week on how live sports were.
Yeah, I'm interested to see
Yeah,
how
that's
that goes in the COVID world.
Yes.
But like you said, it's Florida. It's the Wild West, so anything's possible. No, that's cool though. I'm surprised they're even doing that. But that's hey, you know what? I would go to a soccer game at this point if there was something to go to and I could go without having too much of a risk. But you know, it is what it is. Another interesting thing that came out this week was that Gordon Hayward has opted out of his contract with the Boston Celtics.
That bummed me out.
Yeah.
I'm a big Celtics fan, and I love Gordon Hayward. I was not happy to see him go.
John, I know you got something on that. You got to have something.
It was, you know what? I love Gordon Hayward. That ankle injury he had, 3 years ago now, that he never really came back from that. He's a really good player.
I think Boston was tainted for him.
Yeah, it was. He was a top 20 player when he came to the Celtics, and he's a really good player. But he ended up being a role player, and also at the same time, the growth of Marcus Smart, the growth of Jason Tatum, the growth of Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen
just
Brown, yeah.
different direction. And I think Gordon Hayward opted out of the contract because it was time for him to go somewhere else. I think he knew that he was paid somewhere else, and it was time for him to get a fresh start because that team was moving on from where it was when he was there, and it could have moved with him. But I just was, for me, it was tough to watch the whole time he was there, just knowing how good he is. And I don't think he's ever going to be back to what he was before the ankle injury, just because mentally it's tough to come back from that. But it was tough to watch him not reach his full potential, because if that was Gordon Hayward playing the way he was 3 years ago when he came to the Celtics, that team is a top 5 team in the league, and I mean they got studs anyway. So I think
easily, yeah.
And it was tough to watch somebody that has that so much potential not be able to hit it because of an injury. So I think he's great down there, but it'll be good for him. I think he's going to see a resurgence in his career. But I think it was time for him to go from the Celtics.
I think the Celtics are in a good place either way, though. I was bummed to see him go, but I'm still excited to see the Celtics play. I think they've got an unbelievable team this year, so
100%.
It'll be fun.
Yep.
I'm excited. I'm excited just to see basketball come back again, because I'm gonna be honest with you, like football's been good, but like I don't know, I need something else again, and I think basketball will be good, and so it won't be in the bubble this time. So I assume that they're gonna kind of do what the NFL is. They're just gonna play in their own arenas and then travel around. I mean, I guess it'd be interesting to watch. The bubble was good. I think that John and I talked about this a lot during the summer. The bubble worked out for them when they needed it, and they had
the basketball was actually enhanced by the bubble. The games were better.
Oh yeah,
it was up. It was just a better game to watch, and I think you're going to see some stuff adopted from that. Like I think this season you're going to see like a team like the Celtics may go down to Orlando and they play like 3-game series with Orlando. They play there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then they go up to the next place and play a 2-game series, and then they return home and play a 3-game series. So I think you're going to see some more stuff like that, where teams not traveling as much to help mitigate, spread of things, or just. But honestly, forget about COVID. I think this is better anyway. Like, forget playing a different team every night. Like, I mean, like if you could watch a team play the same team 2 or 3 nights in a row, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, like baseball.
Yeah.
I love it. I think there would be a nice little change. It mixes it up a little bit. I find myself more interested in watching basketball. I don't know why. I think baseball just really let me down this year. Football is just kind of boring for me right now. Because the Patriots are just kind of, and I don't know. It just doesn't really seem like a really fun season. Hockey's always good, but I feel like with hockey, there's such an energy with the crowd, and without having the crowd there, like, I don't know. I think it's the kind of same with football. Like, and that's where I kind of agree with Eric. It's like without the crowd there, it takes away from it. Like, I feel like the game is just the energy of the crowd over the game being played on the field is definitely a mix that just I think is special. And when you watch a game and there's just like nobody there, it almost feels like, what am I doing here? Like, I know that it still means something, but it's a mental thing. You know what I mean? It's like when you see like certain foods that look like they have a texture and they could taste like amazing, but you're like, that looks like it's gross. And I don't know. It's a mental thing. You know, that's what they say. It's a mental thing for me. Watching sports with no fans is weird. But
Yeah.
I know it's something to get used to maybe for a little while. But I don't know. I'd say out of all of them, I'm really excited to watch basketball. I think I'm going to start watching more of that and kind of getting back into basketball. I watched it when I was younger, then got away from it. I want to get back into basketball. I think it's just the right time for me. I do normally watch NASCAR as well. I'm a big NASCAR guy. But the NASCAR season has ended, so I have to wait only a few months until February for the next season to kickstart off. And I'm going to need something to watch in the downtime. So I got a couple months of basketball ahead of me, which is nice. We are getting towards the end of the show, but before I do completely walk away, we do have a guest here, Eric. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks
Hammer
for
and
having
Sickle,
me, guys. This has been a blast.
dude. Awesome, absolutely. Thank you for coming on. I know that we were trying to get you on for a little while there, but I know life happens. But we're glad you finally were able to come on. I am getting towards the end of this cigar, and I have to say I love this. It hasn't let me down. And again, I like the size. It's a little bit, as I said, it's a little bit smaller on the ring gauge for a Churchill, but I enjoy it. I've been smoking a lot of bigger cigars, especially bigger ring gauges specifically, the last 6 or 7 months. So I don't know. Lately, I've been kind of going back into some smaller cigars, and I've been really enjoying those. So this was definitely in my wheelhouse. I was definitely really feeling this tonight. I enjoyed it.
Glad you enjoy it.
I think you guys do a great job. And like we said before, I think you guys have, for the cost of what you guys have, and the quality that you put out, I think it's phenomenal, and it can't be beaten. I know there's the cigar shops in our area. I know I've seen a lot of people come in looking for cigars, and this is one of the brands that always gets shown first, and a lot of people buy. It's especially good for a beginner too. It's price is right, quality's good. Almost like Perdomo, same, and not to kind of throw someone else in there, but like Perdomo, good pricing, very good quality, never lets me down. It's a solid, reliable cigar. I know I can smoke a Hammer and Sickle anytime and never be let down. Much like I do with LFD. I mean, in all seriousness, LFD. I smoke a lot of different LFD cigars, all over the place. Heroes, double Heroes, Diggers, Bulls, La Volcadas. I used to be really into the Lennox, but then I found I kind of like the La Volcata better, but the Lennox is still a great cigar. Wide profile, solid, good pricing, good quality. I think that's really important for a lot of brands out there. You often see now there's a lot of brands that are just getting into more, I don't know if it's experimental. I don't know if they're just getting too big for themselves and they're pumping stuff out that isn't as good, and then they're trying to charge more money for it. And again, no names are going to get mentioned, Davidoff, but no, not just them though. There's a lot of people, and it's always nice to find brands like both of yours, that are just they're great. They're reliable. They're good cigars. They're not overly priced. It's something that a lot of people can have access to and enjoy. I think that's really important because at the end of the day, I mean, like we look, with bourbon, me and you, we hunt all these bourbons that, yeah, they're good. Sometimes people pay a little bit too much for them. Sometimes you just can't get them, and they're enjoyable. Yeah. But it's like there's also those bourbons that we drink that are readily available, that are not too pricey. There's a bottle I had this week, Russell's Reserve. It was a store pick, and I won't say from where. Great bottle, and that's a regular bottle. A Russell Reserve. That's a fairly regular bottle to find. The Rowan's Creek from the Willett Distillery. That's one that I drink all the time. Fairly reasonable on price, generally available. same thing. You know, having these products that you enjoy, good price points and availability is key.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
always got to have something you hunt for, but you got to have something that you can have too, and that you
Mm.
enjoy and is easy to grab. I mean, it's always fun to hunt. I mean, it goes for me. It's the sneakers more
Yep.
so than the bourbon. It's
Yeah.
I love the hunt.
Yeah.
The thrill of getting something is so exciting.
It's more exciting than actually the product itself, like consuming it. It's like you enjoy looking for like a bottle or a pair of sneakers or even cigars. Like
When you get it in hand, it's just so exciting.
yeah, and then it's like you go home and you have it and you're like, all right, I have it now, and then it's over. you know.
And you
So
look
yeah,
at all
no.
your other shit, you're like, oh, well, that'll be pushed to the back.
No, so I wanted to point that out because I really do think it's important, and I think both of your companies have done a really good job doing that, and I enjoy all of your stuff. So as I've said before, but before we do go, Erik, is there anything you want to say? Is there anything coming out? Anything you want to promote? Anything you want to push? Anything you want to tease?
Unfortunately, Carney and I were talking about this a little bit while you were on your little hiatus there.
Oh, okay, yep.
Anything new has been pushed off indefinitely at this point, trying to get our regular product currently in stock regularly and keep the market flooded with that before we bring something else out. We want to make sure we have the trademarks and the Hermitages and the Tradiciones before we bring out a limited. I think that's very important to be able to sell our core products before a limited. Especially, the way we do limiteds is we do 200-300 boxes.
Mhm.
So, to pull the rollers off of our core product to make that, it takes a while to make that changeover. It's getting the tobacco out to them and stuff like that. So I don't really want to lose the time in the box factory and on the rolling tables and shit like that to produce the limited. And the way FDA is looking, I don't see a concern of bringing out limiteds in the future. I don't see a rush in having to get it out right now.
Mhm.
So I'm hoping that's true. But our main goal is to be able to keep our core line steadily flowing throughout the market. So that's where we're at with Hammer and Sickle.
I think that's pretty well said. That's very respectable. And good luck on that. It's a lot of companies have had a hard time with their inventory, and I know John with LFD. You guys have had back orders.
It's a nightmare right now.
A lot of people have. It's the state of the world right now, and
yep.
Someday hopefully we can all move past this and kind of get back to some sense of normalcy. But right now I think, like you said, it's more of a survival game right now. Let's get through it and then worry about the other stuff later. John, is there anything that you wanted to throw into the mix here? I know you haven't been on for a few weeks.
Yeah, we've got some exciting coming up. I'm going to show it to you here in just a few seconds.
Oh yeah.
Stand by. Stand by. We'll pour it right up here. We've got. Why is this not working? Of course, what I want to do is not working. Of course. 1 second. Stand by. There we go.
Is this a hacking gourmet or an LFD?
Yeah, I was gonna give some information on something, but apparently everything I set up is now disappeared.
That's disappointing.
Oh, here we go. Oh no, here we go.
Oh, there we go.
So we've got it's this computer I got. This loaner sucks. So here we go. We've got coming up on December 12th. We've got the next LFD Gourmet Smoke Session. Will be live in Florida, Galliano Cigars and Coral Gables. This is the cigar we'll be releasing. It's called Feliz Navidad. It's the Coronado with Christmas tree on it, but that'll be December 12th. You can go to hackinggourmet.com and click on Gourmet Smoke Sessions to get the information on the food package. You'll be cooking picanha for that. So that'll be December 12th, live at 5 p.m. It's on a Saturday, but you can jump on meatandbone.com or hackinggourmet.com to get those packages. So there you go. And that's some breaking news there. That's the cigar we're going to be doing. It's called Feliz Navidad.
Those cigars look fantastic.
Can you order that cigar? Is that something I'll be able to go somewhere to order?
Yeah, you'll be able to purchase it from Galliano Cigars down in Coral Gables in Florida. They'll have before the event, we'll launch it that day on December 12th. We launch that cigar, and consumers will be able to pick that up from Galliano, and they'll have an online system set up for that as well.
Perfect.
Nice. Yeah. No,
I always
like the way
love
those
special cigars like that.
Yeah.
Dude, that one
Big
looks
fan
so
of that.
cool too with the like the Coronado band. It was like it was made to have a green Christmas tree on it. Like, look at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's incredible looking.
That Christmas tree
Yeah,
looks
like
really sick on there. I like that.
Yeah, then
I
you
def-
got the green on the top of the crown. Like, yeah, it's super badass. Yeah.
Now,
You
So I'm
guys do
excited about
limited
that.
stuff like nobody else. The baseball bat cigar you guys did, the football stuff you guys do. I absolutely love what you guys do on the limited stuff.
Yeah, it's part of having having that control where you can, when you
Yeah.
manage the situation. So it's not like, if we want to do a football cigar, we can make a football cigar. It doesn't have to jump through hoops to do it. It's just a matter of, hey, I want a cigar with a Christmas tree on it, and I want to call it Feliz Navidad. And so we make a cigar with a Christmas tree on it, and a week later it shows up. So
Love it.
there's you guys, we had Tony on the show a few weeks ago, and we were talking about that, and he was like, he goes, it's amazing because it's like it's fun. You just get to experiment. You just do like all this weird, because I remember saying to him, like, you guys do all this crazy shit, and he's like, he's like, it's amazing. It's just like, it's having fun, it's experimenting, it's just playing with ideas, and then like you do it and you're like, oh, actually that's really cool, like let's just make this now, and then just stuff just comes to be. And I've always loved that about LFD. I mean, everyone down there, you guys are just like so creative in just like how you do stuff. And like I remember, like he was saying, like he told the story of how Andalusian Bowl came to be, and how like you guys had like the packaging and the band all designed before you even had the cigar. And, like you had, and I think he said the shape was settled on first because they found the mold, I believe was how the story went. They found the mold, or I think Lido found a mold or something like that, and they had everything but the actual blend for the Andalusian Bowl. And then they had like, all right, now we have to make a blend for it. It just stories like that are just cool. And that's like the cigar geek. That's like the term that David Garofalo uses, like, oh, the cigar geeky stuff. That's like the cigar geeky stuff. I love that. I know there's some people who just don't care. They just want to smoke a cigar and move on. But I like to get into that stuff. It's fun. But with that, guys, we're gonna sign off. It's been great. It's been fun. We've had a great time with Erik. Jon, welcome back to the show. We've missed you dearly. I know some of our regular fans have missed you as well. And like I said, next week we'll be back, same time, same place. Go to smokintabacco.com and check out the Cigar of the Year voting process. You can go on there and you can vote. Right now, the McAuliffe A is in the lead, but it's anybody's ball game. So head on over there and vote. You have until Christmas Eve at midnight. And we will see you next week. Take care, guys.
Thank you, boys.